Welcome to Art and Soul Insider. I'm Barbara Lynn Burns, and I'm here to help you find your joy, your creativity, and calm through art and wellness. Whether it's exploring new supplies, guided meditations, or inspiring art projects, this is your space to recharge and create. So let's make more art and less stress together. Here we go. Welcome. So today what we're going to be doing is Happy Valentine's Day. Now, whether you believe in Valentine's Day or you don't, this is a day of love. The people focus on a day of love, and this is what I really appreciate. Now, what I often do on this day is to help focus it back on me, because I believe self-love is important. I believe if we can love ourselves to the best of our abilities, we can love others that much better. We can love the environment that much better. We can help organizations that much better. It's self-centering, but we really do need to focus on ourselves, because when we fill up our own well, when we fill ourselves up, that we feel like there's nothing lacking in our lives, then we share with an overflow. We give. So today's project is, it's a love tree. And we're going to be using watercolors, and I'm going to use metallic paints. You use whatever you have. So if only thing that you have that's metallic or gold is a gel pen, use that. I'm using watercolors, but you don't have to. You can use whatever you have. So if you have pencil crayons, use that. So this is your time, right? This is your time. And this is going back to that self-love stuff that I was talking about in the beginning. For you to take time for yourself, to really just spend quietening your mind, making yourself still for a moment. Now, I know you're very busy, so you might not be able to fill all of this project in one sitting, but please start and then come back to it every 5 minutes, if that works, right? Do whatever works best for you, because again, we're here for you. This channel is all about art and wellness, and it's about being good and loving to yourself. So please take the time today and join me, and the teacher in me will explain things as I go, as I always do. You know, I could make shorter videos, I think, if I didn't talk, but it's the teacher in me. I just want to share what I'm doing, the supplies I'm using, how I'm using them, because to me, that'll make you a better artist. I don't want it to be just you watching me paint. However, if you want to do that, that's fine with me. But to me, there's always learning to be had. It's the teacher in me. So sit back, enjoy, and if you want to, play along with me. So let's get going. Hello, sunshine. Well, actually, yeah, it is a sunshiny day. It's a cold day up here. I'm filming this in February. It's just beginning of February. And we have had snow, unbelievable amount of snow. And it has been cold. Like, it'll be minus 23 out, which isn't that bad, but it'll be minus 35. The other morning when I drove to work, it was minus 35, and it was minus 42 with the wind chill. So, chilly. So today we're putting all that winter aside, and we're going to warm our hearts with this lovely little, heart tree as such. And with it, I'm going to be using watercolors, but as I mentioned in the beginning, use what you have. I want you to create for the sake of creating. And if you don't have the supplies I have, well, do your best. And perhaps, if there is a little bit of a budget that you have, maybe if you really like something I'm using, then that's possibility that you can maybe invest in that in the future. Like, instead of perhaps the paints that I'm going to be using, the metallic gold, a gel pen. I love my gel pen. I use it a lot, and I'll be using it again today. So, but before we begin, let's go over the supplies. So I've got my Ohuhu mixed media, and this is ideal for wet and dry medium. Okay. This is actually 10 inches, roughly by 7.5. Okay. And it's 200 grams per meter squared. So that is 120 pounds. It's a nice weight. I find 90 pound is a little lightweight. So if you do have 90 pound, maybe perhaps your next purchase could be maybe a paper that's a bit heavier. So go above, there's 110 pound paper. As I'm showing you here, there's 120. And it goes higher than that. This has 62 pages. I kind of like this because it has a perforated edge. You see that? So when I'm done with the painting, if someone likes it and says, hey, that painting you did, is it for sale? Or, a good friend can say, oh, can you give it to me for my birthday? I can just easily tear it out of here and give it to them for their birthday or just because. So, as I mentioned, this is going to be a love painting. And I believe love is what's needed in the world today. So, yeah, I can go on about that maybe when I'm painting. So, the supplies I'm going to be using today. Watercolors. Now, I'm not going to use this set, but if you have a set like this, this is perfect. I'm going to be using my good old Kurtaki set. Okay? There's my Kurtaki set. You go this way and you can see it all almost, right? So, yeah, I love this set. I'm choosing it because it does have a variety of reds. As you can see, it has a pink as well. So, however, with your watercolors, you can make pinks just by adding white. Okay, and I do have white here. I even have a pearlized white, so I can make it a little pearlized, which is kind of neat. Or going as a traditional watercolorist, you'll add water. The more water, the lighter your color will be. And so this goes pink, right? So if you have a set like this, don't worry. You can take this red and just put a little bit of orange and mix those two together. Or you could take a little bit of the yellow and mix it together. Or a little bit of the blue, right? Or a little bit of the purples. Just a little touch. So it's still red, but it's altered in just that way. Okay? So that's why I brought this out to kind of show you. I have my water bottle to activate them. However, these ones don't really need a whole lot of activation because they are semi-moist. I've got my palette for mixing my paints together as well as adding water to my paints. I've got my containers of water, right? I've got two, one to clean my brush and one that's going to remain clean. I've got my towel to dry my brush in case there's too much water. I don't think I'm going to be taping it. I know, shock. For those that follow me, know I love that crisp edge, but I think I'm just going to let it go this time. I know what's happening in the world. I'm going to be using the Kurtaki Starry Colors. This has a pearlescent white and a variety of golds. So you get some warmer gold. See how really yellowy orange that is? These are more yellow, okay? This is a little softer, and here's your pearl essence. I'm going to be using that. This is going to become at the end of the project. And I've got my blow dryer because I love to sometimes speed up the process. Whoops, I'm hitting things as I'm going. And my special one that's I'm going to be adding different colors with is my double-ended watercolor brush pens. This is by Stadler, okay? And here they are. What's cool about these, okay, so I've got this color. It's kind of a pinky, right? I have a pen side, okay? And there's my pen. And then on the other side, I have a brush. One thing I find about these is they really stain the mixed media paper. So there's not necessarily, you can't get some washes out of here. So that's the only thing that I kind of have issues with. So I'm going to take out my reds. This is kind of reddies. Should we even add a purple there? Kind of a purpley. That's more purple, isn't it? Yeah, that's more purple. We'll leave that one behind. Okay. I just wanted to show you something different in a sense of watercolors, right? You could use watercolor pencil crayons, whatever. Again, if you don't have watercolors, acrylics, tempera paint, you can use gouache, pencil, I mentioned pencil crayons, yeah. So, yeah, use your imagination. And again, let's be free in this process of the fact that being gentle with yourself, not judging yourself. It's hard, but it's so important that this is our time to be kind to ourselves. I also have brushes. I forgot to mention brushes. This is an old one. This is a gold sable. Don't even know the name. This brush is 40 years old. I am dating myself. This is a university one. This is a Grumbacher multimedia one. Again, it's another round. This is a number 8. It doesn't really make sense, right? This is a 6 and this is 8. I wish there was some, I don't know, a general consensus, like an inch is an inch, right? And this is a 0, another Grumbacher Academy multimedia one. So these multimedia ones, I do mix the watercolors with acrylics. This one I use just for watercolors. So, yeah. So, okay. First, we're going to start with the trunk. Okay. We're going to give our space for some ground here. And then our trunk's going to be probably 1, 2, 3, maybe 3.5 inches. Again, if yours goes a little bit bigger, no worries. I'm going to be using, out of the Kurtaki set, a burnt sienna. Burnt sienna is it has a little bit of a red in it, an orangey red kind of thing. So I'm going to just take that. And I'm going to go paint straight on. I'm going to be that bold. I'm not really going to be using it like a watercolor in that sense of, taking it. Well, it's a little watered there. So there you go. So I'm kind of doing a little trunk like that. I'm going to use the tip of my brush. Okay. And I'm going to do kind of some branches like that. Okay. Now, we're not doing a realistic tree because technically it would be branches. Then it could go, a little different. Like it wouldn't go like that. Okay. It's, we would go much thicker and but anyways, not a realistic tree. We may do another tree later sometime. Okay. There we go. I'm just going to, the artist in me says, oh, it's not realistic. I need to thicken those up a bit. So I'm just going to do like that. Okay. The only problem with doing something like that, I'm taking away space from my hearts. That's the bad thing. because these are watercolors, you're going to actually see the color underneath when I go over it. Okay, so that's the bad thing. But this is burnt sienna. There we go. I'm going to take all my reds. Now, this one really surprised me. Look at that. That almost looks like, I actually thought it was a brown. This is actually maroon. Okay? It's a, yeah. I'm just going to take them out, and this one is just amazing. I'm sorry. These are really difficult to take out. But once you get one out, you're good to go. But especially when you don't have any nails. Oh, there we go. There we go. So, Rose Madder. Okay. This one is Carmine. This one is, oh, this must be Rose Madder Deep. Yes, Rose Madder Deep. Red. And this, we're starting to go more orangey here, aren't we? Yep. This is Cadmium Red. And let's even put this one in Cadmium Scarlet. So we are really going orangey there. But we will. So those are all the reds I have. I'm very lucky. But like I said, you are capable of adding all sorts of reds to yours because you have a lot of colors in your palette. You can add just a touch of each color and you can change your colors. Let's start. I'm gonna put these here. I know you can't probably see them, but let's, okay. I've mixed them up, I think, here. Oh, well. That's Cadmium Scarlet. There we go. A little off. But anyways, you can't even see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to actually change the brush. I want a smaller one. Even though this goes to a nice tip, I'm wanting something a little less. So this is where I'm going to take the Gumbracher 8. Okay, nice point. See that? Okay, wet my brush. And I've got little pigments all over. Okay, I'm going to take this one. This is the maroon. Okay, see how that really looks brown. And I'm not sure what it looks like on your screen, but I'm sure. But look at, you see that? Isn't that beautiful? Well, I painted my cord of my camera here. There we go. Oh, love it. So I'm just going to do a heart. Don't worry about your hearts being perfect. Do I want that one to be changed? Yes, I want a little more bumpy, but it's okay. Now, that's very liquidy. So what I could do is actually take my paper towel, or my towel, and just kind of lift some of the paint off. And then when I go and do this one, it's going to be much drier. See that? So I don't want them all the same size. So don't do what I do. Do as I say, because these ones are all the same. Okay. Now let's go. We want variety. So I'm going to go for another deep color. This one is Rose Madder Deep. This is very pretty, this color. It does have a rosiness to it. Okay, you see that? It's so pretty. Very pretty. Look at it. It has a little blue in it. Yeah, little blue in it. So I'm going to just touch my brush. I'm going to do a heart that is gone right up with that one. Oh, don't want it really close to the other one. There, we're going to do a little one right in here. Can I do a little one? I do have a smaller brush. Yeah, that one I need to come up a little bit more. There's a heart. And I'm going to do one right up here, attached to that one. Your hearts don't need to be perfect. And what I would encourage you to do while you're doing these hearts, think of the ways you love yourself. Now that's a stretch I know. Some people say, whoa, 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 whoa. So let's start with, what do you like about yourself? What do you like about yourself? What do your friends share that they like about you? Do they like your sense of humor, your smile, the twinkle in your eye, the way you're always so kind and generous with other people, how you're always there for them? Think of the ways that you like about yourself. What's good? You know, good is very, well, anyone can say, oh, I think this is good. You know, each person's perception's different. But I'm interested in your perceptions too, besides your friends. What is your perception of yourself? You know, I know as I mentioned, we are our own worst critics, right? We are terrible with ourselves. We can be cruel, you know? So the reason why I wanted to do this heart one is, again, to think about how can we be nicer to ourselves? I'm going to take the burnt sienna again. I'm going to do a few more branch lines. I'm going to take the thinner brush now. So I want you to think about that, because we're so quick and ready to be so kind and loving for other people, right? We can't forget about ourselves. Oops, I'm going right from the pen, and I was meaning to go right from my water here. But you know, like, one thing I want to say is I'm so glad you're here today. You know, you're taking the time for yourself. Very often we don't, right? We take care of other people, and their needs come first, and we're behind there. We're not front and center in the care aspect, right? So how can you find those moments when you can be kind to yourself? One thing that I've been doing is looking at myself in the mirror. And you go, well, Barb, you know, that's how most people get ready. You know, they brush their teeth or they wash their face. That's true. That's very true. But I'm talking about looking at yourself. Like, I actually stop and I look at myself in the mirror. Getting very kind of cheered up about this. It's hard to do, you know. It's really hard to do. Because to take time and look at yourself, and I have said these words to myself in the mirror: I love you. You're doing okay. Just keep going. I know it might not be easy, but you've got this. I'm trying to become, and I've always tried to become over the past years, my own cheerleader. Because sometimes our friends can't always be there. So I encourage you, if you find that difficult to do, to look at yourself in the mirror and say kind words. Well, how would you say the words that you've heard your friends say about you, or your coworkers, or your family? Say those words to you. Yeah, it's a bit challenging, isn't it? I mean, I find some days are better than others. It's a big deal, with everyone being so busy, and there's so much going on in the world, where there seems to be us versus them, and oops, I got a smudge there. Oh well, I'll do a heart that's dropping. But there's so much happening in the world that we really need to be our best friend. We really need to be able to look at ourselves and say, I really like you. And if you can't say that to yourself right now, don't be hard on yourself. I'm not saying this and sharing this for you to berate yourself. I'm sharing all this so that you can just be aware that there is the possibility, there is the growth of you taking care of yourself and being good to yourself. I was thinking, wouldn't it be lovely with every single heart that I'm doing, that you could find a reason why you love yourself or why you like yourself? That's pretty powerful. I know I'd have to rely on my friends and what they say to actually do that. But I think I could. Because, well, I've been very fortunate. I've been loved in this time. And I know you have been. So take the time. Another way I showed myself I loved myself and grew in my love for myself. And it sounds really weird, and it was kind of weird actually, but I actually sent little cards to myself every now and again. Literally, I would put them in the mail and send them to myself. And they were little notes of care. And I would share, about myself. I would share what I thought I did that day that was really neat or really fantastic. And what I did with them is I actually kept them and put them in my journal. It's really strange, but I did that because I needed to see those words coming at me and to read them and feel them in my heart. That's why I keep cards and letters from people, that people that share special things about me. Because, I every now and again you hit a bump in the road. Well, heck, you hit sometimes a couple bumps in the road. And it's in those times I actually take those little notes, those little words, whether they came from Facebook, whether they came from a text, email, an actual birthday card, whatever. I actually kept them, and I, either in my journal or I'd keep them in a little box, and I'd reread them every now and again, especially on those tough days. And we all have those tough days. So, yeah, that's another little thing you could do. It can be so challenging for us to, feel that love. But it's possible. We can do it. And you don't become good at it overnight. I'm still learning, and I've been at this for a lot of years. Now, when I look back, I see my love and acceptance. That's a key. The acceptance of myself has grown substantially over the years. That makes me happy. When I look back and I go, wow, I've really done good. I've really learned how to be gentle with myself. I've learned, and again, that key word, acceptance. I think the sooner we learn to accept ourselves as human beings that are, I remember hearing that we are human becomings, that we don't have all the answers, that we're just learning, that through all this, we can accept ourselves and just say, yeah, you've got some warts, you've got some bruises, but you are okay. Yeah, you're okay. You've made a difference. Yes, you've hurt some people in the past, but you know what? You've also helped people. So that's important. I'm finding I need some more over here. You'll be able to look at your tree and say, yeah, I need a little bit more. I can't forget about those watercolor markers I was sharing with you earlier, right? This one I could have done with a bigger brush, but I was kind of in the zone with the little ones, the little brush here. So I'm just gonna go, painted my cord again. I'm gonna stop this and I'm gonna bring out these guys. So I'm going to use just the pen. So here's the pen on that side. It's really kind of metallic here. You can kind of see. It's hard to see, actually. Silver looks nice, but it would have been more clear if they used a white. Now that is pen there. And that is brush. No, hold it. Oh, which is which? That is brush. Nope, that's pen. Okay, let's start with this one. So you're going to notice that it's much darker, okay, so I'm using just this. So I'm just using the pen and I'm just going to put the color down like that. Okay. And again, you're going to use your small brush to fill it in. Be careful not to touch the hearts. The reason why, you see, this one's wet. And if I touch that, all the water would have gone into that one. So if you want, like this one's kind of bleeding in right now to the other one, I'd lift it up for you, but I don't want to. So I'm just going to fill that in. And before I fill it in too much, I want to make sure I go back and take that brush, right, with a little bit of liquid in it, and paint these in. Okay, paint this one in. Just fill that ink in there. And that one in. I don't want to lose track of the ones that I've done, right? So, and let's do, I got to watch my hand when I go over here because this is all wet, right? So watch your hand as well. I should really dry it. You know, I'm going to dry it. Let's do that before we do any more. That is still drying, but I'm looking at this tree and I want to get more up here. I'm going to get kind of like that. So I'm kind of switching back and forth here, aren't I? But I want some bigger, just to fill out a bit more. Here we go. Now you can change your colors, right? You could have, say, one type of red and then mix it with another type of red, right? So you could get a whole bunch of different, literally different reds. Again, remember, you can mix, but just add just a bit to it, right? You don't want it to become another color. You want it to still be red or pink, right? A little different. See, and I'm just not really kind of filling in that whole art with that color, but maybe I'm going to now that I'm looking at it, just to fill it in so it shows up a bit more. There we go. So let's, got some wetness here. Let's do another. Remember, I'm trying to fill this out a bit more. So yeah, thoughts to think about today. I mean, with Valentine's being close, you know, it's a really good time to really evaluate your own personal love meter, not necessarily for the person you love, male, female, right? Or your dog or whatever. Because, you know, well, most often those are pretty good, right? It's the love of yourself we want to work on. And if we can do that, my gosh, it really does help with your own sense of personal satisfaction with your own life. You feel happier because, well, what happens when you love yourself, you actually start meeting your own needs and taking care of yourself the way you deserve. Because very often, you know, we can let things happening in our lives just take over, and we're the last on the totem pole, aren't we? We take care of everything else, right? And we're not thinking about what's filling our soul. I know for me, art and wellness are a very big part of what fills my soul. I am a teacher. You know, I am a teacher of art, and I do enjoy that. But I create art for my enjoyment. And perhaps you do too. And that's okay. That's good. You know, I did Reiki to help myself when I first started Reiki. And then I branched out and started helping others. But it started with me, you know, doing it for myself. And with your art, you don't have to be like me and go and think about ending up teaching. I mean, you don't have to do that at all. But start with yourself, right? Yeah. There. That's better. And then I'm going to fill it out just a little bit more here. I'm I'm going to take that orangey red there. A little different color. Oops, my brush is drying out there. There we go. There. So now what we can do is fill with the little hearts. So little baby leaves. And we're not going to fill in all the way. We're just going to fill in every now and again. And that's what I'm going to be using the pens for. Again, you can do that with a smaller brush. I'm fortunate that I have these. So, well, before I begin, I'm going to blow dry. So I'm going to take this one. I'm putting my elbow in my palette here, which isn't unusual for me. Now, I could probably use the brush, now that I'm thinking about it, the brush side of these pens to do these little hearts. And get maybe some bigger ones, right? But yeah, just some food for thought about, you know, a check-in. Just how well are you loving yourself and being good to yourself? Because, I really do believe in some ways the purpose in our life is to figure that out. And if we can figure that out, then we can figure out, what goals and what things fill our hearts that we can then use to help other people. It's all you. You're very important. I'm going to actually use this. I'm going to make a bigger heart here. That feels nice, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay. Oh, I can use a little tip here too. Oh, that's good. Oh, I like this one better, actually. Goes much quicker here. There we go. Oh, I've got some red now coming here. Let's use this guy. It's nice because I can make different shapes of heart. Like, see, this one's a little longer, right? Instead of so round. So I can kind of fill the space. That's kind of neat. Oops, there we go. Fill that one out a little bit. That's kind of a... There we go. That one needs a little extra love in there. Sometimes you just have to eke out an edge a little bit more. Just make it a little bit bigger, right? So at my my part-time job that I work at the hospital, we were doing these little pillow hearts for Valentine's Day. We've got some grade 2 students coming over, and they'll be coming over every a lot of times during the year, throughout this year, or this school year, I should say. And they will be coming on February 12th. So they will be seeing us, and they'll be giving us Valentines. So I thought it would be nice for us to give something to them too. So we're doing these Valentine hearts. So that's what we're doing. So it's a matter of finishing them in time, though. I thought, sometimes, this would be a quick little project. It's taking a little longer than I thought. And I gave myself like 3 different opportunities to do this. But anyways, the key is that the seniors are enjoying themselves. They're actually, they get to talk when they're doing these little pillow hearts, which is kind of neat. And yeah, it's kind of nice to create a project for another person. There we go. I think that I feel good about that. Okay. Now, I'm going to just add a little extra to my tree. Here's I was looking for my thin brush. I'm going to create some lines because see how this has darker and lighter values? I'm going to kind of do that with the tree. And how I'm going to do that is wet my brush. Oh, here we go. Bring back my palette. And I'm going to wet the paint in there. Okay. And I'm going to go and do some lines around and on the sides of some. So what's going to happen by adding a darker value, you see, you can kind of see that happening. And what it is it's just me applying another coat, the same coat as I was doing here. And it's going to look darker. Like that, see? I'm going to do that on this side too. Oh, I'm running out of steam here with my color. There we go. And get some more here. Oops. There we go. And I'm going to go down on this side here, that root. And then this side of that root. And kind of on both sides here. So it looks like this side's popping up. There you go. Just simple little stuff. Just little extras, right? So now, okay, we're going to put our paints aside. Going to blow dry this, and then we're going to introduce the golds. Actually, no, I'm going to do the ground first. There we go. Let's take out the bigger brush, and I'm going to take my brown again. So that's it's burnt sienna, right? Okay. So I'm just going to get some burnt sienna going. But before I begin, I'm going to take a red, and this one's speaking to me. The rows matter. So I'm going to take some red and put it in one of my palettes. Don't know if it's the right one that I'm putting in, but I'm going to just put that color in. Okay? And I'm going to then make a ground. And I'm just going to kind of bring it down like that. Oops, I should have put another thing underneath there. Okay, I'm just going to spread it like that. Then I'm going to take my brown, okay? And I'm going to start to kind of put it in the ground there too. Kind of coming up into the paint. Kind of mixing those two colors together. Bringing my brown right up to the top here. I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm going to just kind of fill in here. There you go. Don't get too picky because I'm thinking I might be starting to create some good old blossoms. What I'm going to do is I am going to put some hearts down on the ground, like some have fallen, right? And I'm going to cheat. Once I found this, I was like, oh, I kind of like this. I'm actually going to, this is dry now, right? So I'm just going to lay some hearts down on the ground. Kind of like tree leaves. And that's what's going to fit so well with this heart is I'm going to do that little spot that I had, right? I'm going to make it into a heart that's falling down. So we want them to be all kind of scattered. Don't make them all upright or all the same direction. Some should be softer, which I'm thinking I'm going to bring in my watercolors for. Okay, so let's do it's going to be a lighter one. And I'm going to do a few more. This one over here. Little one. I'm going to do another little one. Do some close, do some far away from each other. Yeah. We don't want a whole lot down here, but we're going to do some, right? And I'm trying to get some lighter ones, right? So it doesn't look like it's all deeper colors, right? Because these are kind of deeper colors there. So, okay, I've done that one. Let's bring in this lighter one. I'm thinking I'm not going to do too many. I think this might be my last one. I'm not going to use all the colors. Yeah. Kind of having them drop more closer here. Little tiny, tiny, tiny ones. Yeah, I think I'm pretty good. I think I'm going to bring in another color here. Let's see what color I'm going to bring in. Let's do this kind of, it's not much. You see what I'm doing? There's not much there. There's kind of a line here, so we want to break that line. So let's go and do one. I say I'm done and I keep going. I mean, I'm sure you do as well, right? Okay, there, done. Now, blow dry, and we're going to add the gold. Figure out what gold we want. Now, now hindsight, looking back, it would have been kind of neat to add some of this to our reds, right? A little, make it pearlescent leaves. That would be kind of funky, yeah. So anyways, this is not the right gold. I'm going to just show you right off the bat. It's too orangey. You see that? It doesn't work that well. And the white isn't the white. We don't want the white. So, how about this one? This has a little green in it. You might not see it on camera, okay? But it does. I'm not going to use that one. This is a bit muted. I'm about that. I think this is too bright of a yellow. Okay. It is between these two for me. Champagne gold and blue gold. This will show up well, okay? This will be more muted. What do I want? I'm gonna go for the bang. I'm gonna go for it's going to show up. Okay, so taking my gold, and what I'm going to do is I'm literally not going to use this as a watercolor. I'm going to use this directly on my tree. Now we want to make sure things are dry because this will bleed one color into another color. And I don't want that. Now, if you have a gel pen, you can just start doing your gold hearts anywhere you want and fill them in. So I'm going to probably do a second coat because I am seeing some red. I'm not going to do this completely covered because I don't think I'll be able to, but we'll get somewhere with it. Yeah. Second coat's going to be needed. I'm trying to put it where there's white, okay? And that I'm going to cover some of the other color, right? Oops. Had a hard time holding my brush there. So there will be some overlap on another heart. Okay, so just know that. Or, again, you could choose to just do in areas where there's nothing like this, right? That way you might not have to do as many overcoats, right? Now, why do you use gold instead of silver? Red is considered a warm color. So out of the metals, silver is cool. Well, red is considered a warm color. So that is why you would use gold paint. The silver wouldn't work as well. It just wouldn't, I don't know, it's not that it wouldn't play nice, but it just really wouldn't be as, it just wouldn't fit. Okay, so you want to make sure that you use a color that's going to work. I mean, yes, you want to create a work sometimes that has, well, it's has some pop, which in the art world, it's called contrast. And you want that in your work. Contrast can be done by using neutral colors. Now, metallic would be considered a neutral color. Also, contrast would be using, perhaps instead of red, you'd use green. The reason why is green is a color, the opposite side of the color wheel for red. So I've got my here. So here's the red, and see directly right across green. Okay, red and green. You want the strongest contrast? That's what you would do, is use these two colors. So your hearts could show up stronger and better with maybe some green leaves in here if you wanted. You don't need them, but you know, we're just adding a little extra pizzazz to our tree. And why this shows up is it's a metallic, while the rest of the paint is very flat. So if, say, you did it all in pearlescence, and then you used a pearlescence like a silver or a gold, right? It wouldn't work as well because everything is shiny, right? You would want something that would be opposite of your metallic then. So you would go for a matte. Yeah, so there you go. Contrast is important, and that's what we're doing here with the contrast between the red and the gold. There's contrast because there's the contrast in the effect, right? So now I'm pretty happy with all my, I don't want to overdo it, okay? I'm finding little spaces. I don't want to fill all the little spaces, right? But you want to fill some of them. Now I'm going to go over with the second coat. This will make the gold a little more impactful because it's going to be that much stronger of a gold. And you won't see where this is more, has one color underneath another, right? You're not going to see that other color as well with this second coat. Now, another effect you could add. Now, this is, I'm not going to be doing this, but you could. You could outline all your hearts. Now, you could outline them in say a black, right? A black pen. You know, I love outlining stuff. It's kind of one of the things I like to do. But for this, I'm going to leave it. what the black will do is really bring out the individual hearts. But, I think it looks fine just the way it is. Doesn't need to be anything more. That second coat with this, because I'm doing it as a heavy coat, right? Not like I'm not watering it down like a watercolor to begin with. So two kind of more opaque, right? Opaque means, well, there's translucence, which means you can see underneath. So I can see underneath this heart right here. So what I'm going to do is by the second coat, I'm going to make the gold painting stronger, so you're not necessarily going to see what's behind there. You still might see some because this is a watercolor as a true color, but I'm going to be using it more painterly, right? Yeah, we're getting close. There we go. There's our picture. Oops, as I stick my finger in the gold paint. Ah, that's funny. Leave my mark, I guess. So think about that. How you love yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Be loving. And treat yourself the way your friend would treat you. Talk to yourself the way a friend would talk to you. And throughout the year, I want you to add one more little heart. Not figuratively, but add one more heart in the aspect of saying, yes, I like my laugh. I'm intelligent. I'm kind. I'm creative. I'm willing to try. And so on. So, happy Valentine's Day. Be good to yourself. There we go. We're done. I think it's so cute, and it really is a lovely, and I didn't talk about this aspect, but it's a lovely meditative sort of work because you're repeating the same visual over and over again. You're painting a heart over and over again. And that can be very meditative. And so, if you want to do another one, just maybe put on some gentle, soothing music and just focus on painting each individual heart, one at a time. And I find you will come away very relaxed. So, yeah. But again, I encourage you, like I said in the video, to really be consciously aware of the remaining 11 months that we have in this year of being good to yourself, to speak words of love to you, to speak words of kindness, because you will mess up, guaranteed. This year it's going to have its bumps and you're going to make mistakes. But the key for us is, as I kind of said in the beginning, is acceptance. If we can accept ourselves as human becomings, then we can be, I really do believe we can flourish. Because for my own personal life, when I took off the robe of perfectionism and took away those times where I had to be right or I had to be perfect, and just allowed myself to be, I grew in my love of myself because I allowed myself to be who I am. And I'm a human being that can do wonderful things, but I can have some stumbling times as well. So it's the balance of those things and saying, yeah, you're okay. You're okay with every single aspect of yourself. And, for the things that you're not okay with, maybe you need to change. So maybe you smoke. Well, maybe it's time you stop. The aspect of being kind to yourself and your body. Maybe for me, next time is not to get that extra cookie. Maybe one cookie will be enough, right? So, yeah, being kind to ourselves. So, with that, thank you for joining me, and I wish you the happiest Valentine's Day because you are special, and I am grateful that you're in my life, and I know there are people that are grateful that you're in their lives as well. So, yeah, be good to yourself. I love you, and take care, and we'll see you next week. Happy Valentine's Day. Okay, here is one of my favorite oracle cards. It's the Osho Zen Tarot. I love this because of the colors in the cards. And because the colors truly in this deck show wonderful motions and stuff like that. It's just really wonderful, special deck. And yeah. And also it's very Zen, which really appeals to me. So for the card today, I'm going to be picking, it'll be either from the person that is watching this video, a particular person, and that this card really just hits you and it has an impact. Or it could be for the collective, which means it's a message that everyone can listen to right now. So I know with this past picture we did, it was very Valentine's based, right? In a sense of love. So what maybe it's something about how we love each other, or maybe it could be about loving ourselves, like I shared. So we will find out. So that's this card right here. Oh, there's two of them. I'm taking the one that has a nick in the corner. There we go. That's the one. Okay, so this one, last time I picked this, it was a very deep message. Wasn't necessarily a happy one, but it was very, very interesting. People thought it was very, very in tune with what's happening in our society right now. So let's see what this one is. Oh, control. Oh my gosh. This is another one. This is, in this color, this is a mind card. Okay, so it looks like this is a very dominant human being who is very controlling. In line show emotion, there's a lot of vertical lines which stand for stability. And a lot of times when there is control, there's a sense of wanting to keep things as they are. So let's see what this says. Control. Not that one. Here. Okay, control. The commentary. There is a time and place for control. But if we put it in charge of our lives, we end up totally rigid. The figure is encased in the angles of pyramid shapes that surround him. Okay, that's interesting. Light glitters and glints off his shiny surfaces, but does not penetrate. It's as if he's almost mummified inside this structure he's built up around himself. His fists are clenched and his stare is blank, almost blind. The lower part of his body beneath the table is a knife point, a cutting edge that divides and separates. His world is ordered and perfect, but it is not alive. He cannot allow any spontaneity or vulnerability to enter it. The image of the King of Clouds reminds us to take a deep breath, loosen our neckties, and to take it easy. If mistakes happen, it is okay. If things get a little out of hand, it's probably just what the doctor ordered. There is much, much more to life than being on top of things. So here's a little bit more information. Controlled persons are always nervous because deep down, turmoil is still hidden. If you are uncontrolled, flowing, alive, then you are not nervous. There is no question of being nervous. Whatsoever happens, happens. You have no expectations for the future. You are not performing. Then why should you be nervous? To control that mind, one has to remain so cold and frozen that there is no life energy is allowed to move into your limbs, into your body. If energy is allowed to move, these repressions will surface. That's why people have learned how to be cold, how to touch others, yet not to touch them, how to see people and not yet not to see them. People live with cliches. Hello, how are you? Means nobody means anything. These are just to avoid the real encounter of two persons. People don't look into each other's eyes. They don't hold hands. They don't try to feel each other's energy. They don't allow each other to pour, very afraid, somehow just managing, cold and dead in a straitjacket. Wow. Okay. Powerful. So, yeah. When I look at this, I can see when I was trying to control my life, and I was very much a type A personality in my teaching and stuff like that. I had to have everything laid out, everything just so, my students behaving, and they did. They were great. But again, it didn't help me in anything because I was just so focused on being in control and making sure everything flows smoothly that I didn't really enjoy myself until the last few years of my teaching career, when I did allow stuff I wasn't in control of it as much as such. And I allowed it to be. I loosened my grip, right? It's the grip right here. So I encourage you, based on my own life, try to loosen your grip. Try to be open to things being as they are, not how you want them to be. So, yeah, very, very deep card. I think it's very tying to what's happening in the world right now.
So, yeah, very interesting. So, with that, I'd like to send you off with love, and I do. But again, just take care of yourself and allow yourself to be as a human becoming, right? And things aren't going to go as planned. So you have to decide whether you want to enjoy the ride or struggle with it. So I have now chosen to enjoy my ride. Yes, I still control things. Yes, I make sure things are I'm set up most of the way, and that things are, working. But there's not that sense of, I don't know. It's really, really a strong pull of wanting control. Yeah. So, yeah, take good care of yourself and be open to life. I send you off with love.